It's for you and me, so let's discover love's great wonder. Let's discover the spell we are under. Love! With Mililli, love. Hello, I'm Merlin Mililli. That's Merlin, like the wizard, Mililli. Mililli. Welcome to the Love Show, where we grapple with the question, what is love? Today we are asking, is love protesting? Let's find out. In 1770, Edmund Burke wrote a letter entitled Thoughts on the Course of the Present Discontents, addressed to pioneer Thomas Mercer. In it he said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." Medium magazine had an article from April of this year entitled Civil Protest, Love's Call to Action, Activism as a Form of Love by Joel Leon. The first thing Joel talks about in his article is the Black Panthers' Free Breakfast for Children program, which he says in its peak fed 10,000 children daily nationwide. Is feeding people for free love? Another love show. I used to run free kitchens, and I can attest that love sure as heck needs to be in the room for that stuff to work. Someone asked me as I was running the Freedom Cafe in Slab City once upon a time what we were running on. And I said, love, mainly, and faith, and donations, but mostly love. Because you really don't get donations without love. So I had a bit of trouble trying to write this episode. First, I was going to do the show asking, is love getting rid of qualified immunity? But I began finding only articles against getting rid of qualified immunity. In last week's show, Is Love Justice, I discussed qualified immunity. And so I put up a little post that was supposed to say, does anyone want to talk about qualified immunity? I think it's one of our biggest problems. But what strangely showed up on Facebook was, does anyone want to talk about affirmative action? I think it is one of our biggest problems. I don't even think about affirmative action. And I don't, nor have I ever thought it was a problem. Certainly not our biggest problem, if it's even a problem. So it seems I was hacked. What I said was, does anyone want to talk about qualified immunity? I think it is one of our biggest problems. But what showed up was, does anyone want to talk about affirmative action? I think it is one of our biggest problems. Now hacking comes to mind as one of our biggest problems. So, I was being attacked online. This has been kind of ongoing lately. Seems to be linked to who I'm voting for. So I think someone was messing with me. So when it showed up that way, I just deleted it. As soon as I realized it was not when I typed it, I just deleted it. So if anyone saw that, that's not what I said at all, actually. So it was really weird. I've had kind of a weird week of serious attacks online. But nonetheless, qualified immunity, however, is immunity set up for cops who kill people. And I think we need to hold them accountable. And I really don't feel like any amount of money can bring people to justice, like holding cops accountable for killing unarmed people can. Imagine you are the mother of one of these kids who were unarmed and just killed in cold blood by police. Would $4 million give you the peace that locking up the person who killed your child would, so they couldn't kill anyone else's child? If you are a victim or a family member of a victim, there is a certain peace in knowing that a crime can't be repeated, and a certain unrest in knowing and seeing in the news every day that it can. Then I thought I might do the show on love being a coping mechanism. And I found very little on the subject. Is protest a coping mechanism? If it helps the cause, I think it is. Psychology Today says we like ourselves better and feel more lovable when we're more compassionate and kind. In an article entitled Love and Toddler Brain Coping Mechanisms by Stephen Stosny, PhD, from February 2018. Then I was going to do the show asking, is love community? And while I searched online for an answer, my online community began attacking me. I was attacked online all yesterday morning, reduced to tears, and thought I should quit life and music and everything. I could not help but notice that that was nothing like love. So I abandoned the idea, saying, nope, community isn't love. But when love is in the community, like free breakfast for children programs or free kitchens, or I was watching a press conference the other day with the family of George Floyd and their lawyer, Benjamin Crump. I love his name. I want to write stories about him. The Tales of Benjamin Crump. Because he is representing many other victims and their families across the country I bet he will have some of the most interesting stories to tell. So, Benjamin, call me in a few years. I digress. So, I'm watching this press conference, and these protesters, as the Floyd family step up, start chanting loud and clear and strong, "We got your back! We got your back! We got your back!" It was so powerful. It made me cry. That community was surely love. But so much of our society and community is so messed up that it seems to only occur together once in a blue moon, and when they do, though, it's extremely powerful. In the Medium article, Joel goes on to say that the Panthers used love for community as a catalyst for change. He says love has been the cornerstone of every great social movement. Love has been the catalyst for some of the greatest developments in civil protest and the impetus for pushing ideas of the people behind them. Love is a form of activism. He goes on to say, love, when used constructively, can do the work through art and protest that anger cannot. He says it's about intention, an intentional love rooted in purpose and value alignment. It's about love rooted in progression, rooted in practice meant to disarm and dismantle the patriarchy. Love as a tool and a means to both confront and engage. Love protesting. Joel goes on to say, love is just as active a form of protest as any other form of activism. So, as many of you out there know, I protest. I've been protesting for the earth as long as I can remember. I took a petition to save 25 acres of Amazon rainforest to a dead show when I was in high school. Of course, I got the most signatures, saved the 25 acres, and won the Sierra Club contest. I love the earth. As some of you may already know, I'm an earth worshiper. I'm a druid. Merlin is really my druid title. I love the earth, and whenever I can, I try to speak for her and protest for her. Every Fire Drill Friday, that's every Friday, I have been posting a different version of my song, Standing for Our Mother, as my protest for Mother Earth. I wrote the song originally for the Standing Rock protests. I led the Women's March here in Mount Shasta in 2016 with this chant. But I have actually written many protest songs. It's sort of become my niche. I wrote Fight Chant for the Black Lives Matter protests. I wrote Teeny Weeny Babies for the children at the border in cages. Still, a sin and atrocity that is. In our show Is Music Love, we found that music indeed is love. The best protests have music. Perhaps the most effective protests have love. We found last week in our Is Love Justice episode that not only is love justice, but we also found that you really don't find justice without love. Protest can be the path to love and justice. We found in our Is Love the Path to Peace episode that love is indeed also the path to peace. Perhaps love is the path to peaceful protest. Peaceful protest is love, but is love all protesting? Love seems to be what is fueling most folks on the street now. But what about those folks with the guns that were refusing to wear masks? We found in our Is Love Wearing a Mask episode that love is wearing a mask and caring for your community. These mask refusal people are not about love. They can't even love themselves. Trump's political rallies with no masks are not love. No social distancing. But I have been to political rallies that are love. Those just simply are not love. So I think what I take away from today's show is that love protesting is much like love is justice. Because it seems to me that the only effective protests are peaceful ones. Protests with love. If there is no love, then the protest sort of bombs. It's not effective. It doesn't work out. It's almost counterproductive to protest out of hatred, to protest without love. The Grateful Dead sing, "Without love in the dream, it'll never come true," in their song "Help on the Way." Is love help? Love certainly seems to help protests along to bring real change to fruition. Keep love in the dream. Love, friends, is out there protesting. Love truly is the key. Get out there and love. I love you. Love! Thanks for watching.